Hi, Democrats. Today is Monday, March 29th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. And just time for me to catch up with a lot of the things that we need to talk about. So, as I've said on my lives, I like to talk about bills so that we're all aware of what's happening down on Lincoln. Talk about our elected officials and talk about elections, and then whatever else is going on. So instead of doing a bill of the day today, I want to talk about the House Dems for our state. They are what is the word? They are in a super minority, but they work hard for us when they're down there. Today they did something that I thought was pretty interesting. They did a press conference where they talked about bills that would have actually helped Oklahoma, that were focused on helping Oklahoma, and most of our elected officials actually bring bills to the floor based on what their specific constituents tell them is important to them. And so we had a lot of lost opportunities. And I think it's interesting to know the good that we could have had, right? And so that you know that you elected the right people. So if you get an opportunity, go out to the Oklahoma House Dems Facebook page. They post their press conferences there, and you can watch and see what we could have had. Because, we want nice things, but it's going to take a little bit more work. So that's a twofer. So I talked about our bills and our elected officials all in one. So I also want to talk about our elections. We have an election coming up on April 6th. That's a week from tomorrow. There's an election all over the state. It's municipal offices, school board races, and then we have a special election on September 22nd, which is in the State Senate, District 22. Our candidate there is Molly Uten. If you can help her, that would be great. Donations, she's still taking money. She still needs to buy water and snacks for the people who are helping her drop literature. So you could help drop literature. You can drive folks around. You can put out signs. In this last week is the big push. And so this is a place where you can help her. Please reach out to mollyuten.com. Offer to volunteer. I'm sure somebody will call you and give you a task. They need as much help as they can get there. So now I want to talk about something that's kind of local, something that's kind of tragic. I think everyone is aware of the Derek Chauvin case that started today. We finally got the jurors picked, all that kind of stuff. And today they did opening arguments. And I think it's really important that we remember that it's the Derek Chauvin trial, seeking justice for George Floyd. It's not the George Floyd trial. It's really important because it sounds like George Floyd is on trial. And if you heard the opening arguments, it sounds like George Floyd is on trial. He is not. And so when we talk about it, let's talk about it as the Derek Chauvin trial, seeking justice for George Floyd. So that's a national big picture thing. But we have, in Oklahoma, we have our own tragedy that we need to deal with. And in order to talk about this, I'm a big believer in, bringing other folks on who are subject matter experts. I want to bring somebody who's been on the front line who can talk about this. And so I've invited the executive director of Black Lives Matter Oklahoma City to come on and talk to us, Reverend T. Cherie Dickerson. Hello, Reverend Dickerson. How are you?
Hello, Madam Chair. I am well. How are you?
I am well. I am saddened because of all the heaviness that we're having to deal with today. For the people who may not be aware, because this is an incident that's happening in Oklahoma City, can you just kind of give us a synopsis of what happened this weekend?
This weekend was another instance where we saw a form of police brutality around people raising their voice. Within the Oklahoma County Jail, which many people, not only just here within Oklahoma County, across the state and across the nation, knows that the Oklahoma County Jail, the facility, is unacceptable. Conditions within the facility, it's just really inhumane. And so there were several incarcerated persons who rose up in protest, saying that we're not going to tolerate being treated like this anymore. They are asking for basic needs, clean water, not living in infestations of bed bugs and rodents, to have meals or food that's prepared that's not molded, spoiled, and making them sick, being able to have a shower more than once every 2 weeks, having their clothes laundered. And they were just saying that we don't deserve to be treated like this. Um, Myself, the organization, and most of the community agree. No one deserves to be in that situation. And what resulted was another fatality. They said they had a hostage. They began to vilify um, and do character assassinations of the persons involved in the incident. The correctional officer that was involved was released. He did seek medical care, but to my knowledge, he is physically okay. They stated there was no harm going to be done to him, and yet the inmate, Mr. Williams, was actually was killed during the incident without negotiation, without de-escalation tactics that are supposed to be used. So once again, we saw life stolen within the carceral system.
So a couple of things I want to highlight that are concerning for me. I'm a daughter of a retired warden, and so I know the difference between a prisoner and a jail detainee. One of the things I want to make sure that people understand, and I need you to correct me on it, it's something like 80% of the people who sit in jail, not just Oklahoma County Jail, but just in jail in Oklahoma, are prearranged detainees. So it's like people who cannot afford bail or people who don't have bail, who have not been adjudicated guilty. Is that accurate?
That is very accurate, and it is 80% within that facility as well. It's one of the institutions that has the highest number of persons. It's already overcrowded. It's set for 1,200. They have about 1,700 held within that system, which is another thing they were speaking out against. And most of those persons have not had their day in court. So by law, they are still considered and aren't innocent. Um, some people sit within that facility for up to 2 years before they ever get a court date. With it being a pandemic, which is another health concern, public health issue, because COVID has been rampant inside the Oklahoma County Jail. People are saying the man that was killed, his case, I believe, had been rescheduled 5 times. He was supposed to have another hearing coming up, I believe, in September. And I think he had gotten to a point to where he was feeling the hopelessness that many feel, but he had not. He had not been convicted of anything, and he was given the death penalty, and was by judge, jury, all by the Oklahoma City law enforcement system.
So when you say the conditions were horrible, I live in Tulsa, and so my information that comes, is secondhand, fifth hand. I've been told that for the last month, running water has been inconsistent. Is that accurate?
The issues with plumbing, not having clean water, having infestations, not having an operable kitchen. They talk about the bed bugs all the time, and those are people that sometimes go in for a couple of hours. That is it's accurate, and it is unacceptable. I have toured the jail. It's been a couple of years, and it was bad then. It's also the mold, the black mold, which is toxic and unhealthy for everyone. We say that building needs to be demolished, and it is unsafe for incarcerated persons as well as the staff and the employees. No one needs to be inside there.
So I'm just trying to get an idea of what's happening. And I guess here's a question I know. You and I know that, a person can be arrested in Oklahoma County and sit out their days. I don't know what the right language is. And then transported to Creek County, because they also owe Creek County some days. So I know that they can transport detainees all over the state. Why are we insisting on housing folks in unsafe conditions? Why don't we mitigate the unsafe conditions? Why are we insisting on housing folks in unsafe conditions? I know you've been having conversations with the jail trust, and so that's why I'm asking you.
Madam Chair, that's an excellent, that should be a consideration, and it should be something that should be implemented immediately. The life and the health of all involved are in jeopardy. It's something that I wish I had thought of beforehand. That's something I'm definitely going to bring up and say that you made as a suggestion. I think it's excellent. And yes, now I do need to say this: in Oklahoma County, in the jail, they used to be able to kind of serve time and it would take away your fines and your fees. But now Oklahoma County Jail is a state that you pay to stay. So you are charged a little bit over $80 a day to be a guest of the Oklahoma County Jail. And I don't mean to be flippant when I say that, but you are paying more than what you pay for some hotel spaces. And you are being deprived of your civil liberties, your freedom, and are treated inhumanely. And you have to pay for that. Unacceptable.
So it's literally a debtor's prison.
That's exactly what it is.
Right.
Many people they can't bond out. They don't have the finances because we have absurd bond amount set. Or a lot of the rules are, if you can make bond, if your family or communities are able to pay it, then they say the person is ineligible for a public defender. So you have to choose whether or not you stay in this dehumanizing space and continue to watch everything around you just deplete. But you have to do that to be able to have to get a public defender. That's not a choice. That's oppression.
Okay, so in summary, we had a detainee who had not, So in summary, we had a detainee who had not been adjudicated guilty, protest his treatment, and he took a hostage. The hostage survived, but the hostage taker did not. And as I understand, is that like the third person to die at Oklahoma County Jail in like the last 45 days, 60 days?
I believe this made number 6 for the Oklahoma County Jail for this year. But we have double digits of people dying within that facility for the last couple of years. And during this period, this is the commemorative time where BLM, OKC, and several other organizations were addressing this very same thing. A young man by the name of Mark Davies Emerson, on, I believe it was March 25th, perished inside the jail because he did not get medical care that he needed. And he just needed his nebulizer or his inhaler. He was an asthmatic. And his family, his mother had been at the jail with his medications. They said, we cannot accept it. We can't take medications from a civilian, but we're getting him care. They said that he was on the medical floor. She left around about 11:30 that night, and by 2:30 the following morning, there was a representative from the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Department letting her know that her son had perished from an asthma attack, and he had not been provided the medical care that she had been told. And so for 4 years, we've been advocating for for incarcerated persons to just have simple, basic needs.
So
it's horrific.
So what we need a call to action, right? What is it? I mean, what can we they're detainees, right? 80%
Detainees,
have
right,
not been adjudicated guilty.
right.
And they're human beings, even the ones who are adjudicated guilty. We need to demand that they be treated as humans. So
I mean, how do you teach, and why do you have to plead for the basic humanity of your fellow person? But that is what we need. We need people contacting the Oklahoma County Jail Trust Authority, which took over governance of the jail in July of 2020. We need people advocating and talking to the county commissioners, which also have influence and governance over the jail. And we need to continue to keep raising the awareness and giving voice to what's happening, and people making suggestions like the one that you just did about let's move them out of that facility that is dangerous for all persons, and start considering the simple humanity of a person. They say the golden rule is to treat people like you want to be treated. I'm pretty sure that no one in leadership or in authority right now would want or tolerate the type of treatment that the people inside the Oklahoma County Jail are receiving. It's heartbreaking, and we're going to keep applying pressure and demanding justice.
So what we need to do, if you're watching me now, it's Monday 4:32. If you see it later, I am asking you, I'm imploring you to please contact the Oklahoma County Jail Trust Authority or your county commissioner. And it doesn't matter if if the jail falls in the purview of your county commissioner. If they are commissioner of the county, it's their purview. Reach out and let them know that it is time. It is time to treat our jail detainees as if they are human, and not just the detainees, even the people adjudicated to be guilty, they are still people, and we need to treat them as such. I know it's a heavy day, guys, but part of what we need to do is raise awareness and advocate for what is right. We need to advocate for what is right. Thank you, Reverend Dickerson. I do appreciate you joining us and giving us an update of what's going on and making sure we know what's going on so we can actually take action. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thank you for always giving voice to the people, for pushing for democracy and being an example of appropriate leadership for the Democrats of Oklahoma.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, you all, that's what I have today. I do want to kind of wrap it up and remind you that the Oklahoma Democratic Party is in the middle of our reorganization period. We do this every 2 years where we elect new precinct officers, county officers, district officers, and state officers. So we've already had our precinct elections. Next up, this Saturday, our county conventions. So please look around on our Facebook page, your county Facebook page or website, and our state website to find out how to be able to participate in your county conventions. They are this Saturday. Next up is district conventions, which are May 1st, and state convention, which the elections will be on June 12th. But on June 11th, we will have some educational components. It should be interesting. Please figure out how you can get involved. Now is the time. We have a lot of work to do in preparation of 2022. And as a matter of fact, we're doing some training even, really pretty quickly here in the next 3 weeks. We're doing some training for future candidates, consultants, and super volunteers. That's Campaign Academy coming up on Saturday, April 17th. You guys have a great one, and I'll be back tomorrow at 4:15.